Aloha, everybody. My name is Ameera Atlantis Mer Healer. I hope you're all doing well today. I've put together a short video to teach you all about something known as the 7 spiritual laws of Atlantis. Now, for those of us who really resonate with, the mythology, the great kingdom of Atlantis and Lemuria, these 7 spiritual laws are really instrumental for re-implementing back into our mythology on this timeline. Why? Because the Earth is going through a great ascension period. It's going through an evolution. And in order to exalt the Atlantean timelines and to actually course correct the spiral of Atlantis and create a new outcome from the spiral of the fall 13,000 years ago, it's very important that we bring back these 7 spiritual laws. Now, 7 is a very auspicious number. 7 is known as God's number. 4 is earth, 3 is spirit. When you bring them together, you have 7. 7 days in the week. There were 7 sons of Poseidon. 7 is considered to be a lucky number. So 7 is very strong in our 3D cosmology. I'm going to explain each spiritual law one by one, give you a little bit of a rundown about what they mean and how we can embody them back into, our own everyday life. And I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the history of Atlantis and how the 7 Atlantean spiritual laws came about. Now, you might also remember that Atlantis and Lemuria, both those timelines existed on one incarnation simultaneously. So whether you resonate with Atlantis or Lemuria, both those timelines, both those societies, because Lemuria is the feminine, Atlantis is the masculine, we are attempting to bridge our own masculine feminine and bringing Atlantis and Lemuria back together in an exalted state is a very important part, very vital part of the process of exalting the earth into 5D ascension. So let's begin. All Atlanteans treated each other as equals. The society was entirely egalitarian, with diversity of all kinds welcome and honored. The concept of different didn't really exist in Atlantis, as each person was recognized and known for their energy and soul frequency imprint. The 7 spiritual laws of Atlantis were provided to the people as precepts or agreements, guiding them to stay aligned with their divine eternal essence and divinity. So when I say laws, you can think of them more as soul agreements. All the beings that were permitted to incarnate and join the Atlantean community were already in resonance with these spiritual laws. Initially, only those who could hold the frequency of each law and embody them were allowed to enter the great kingdom of Atlantis. The High Council of Atlantis established the 7 spiritual laws to support the common goal of actualizing heaven on earth. These precepts help keep the Atlanteans aligned, body, mind, and spirit with their 5th dimensional consciousness. Because remember, the Atlanteans incarnated into 3-dimensional bodies with 5th dimensional consciousness, with the goal of retaining that 5th dimensional consciousness, even though they were experiencing, emotions and the 5 senses and all the physical attributes of being in a literal body for the first time. These 7 were the only laws in Atlantis, with the most important one being the Law of One. The Law of One states that all souls in the Atlantean community are able to be treated equally and with the highest of respect and integrity. Whether an Atlantean was a scientist, a priestess, a teacher, a parent, or a gardener, no caste system existed. All individuals were equally valued. Because the people of Atlantis vibrated at a frequency high enough to be seen in complete transparency, there were no room for lies or deception. These laws were easily and fully practiced, creating an environment of peace, joy, and a sense of utopia. As we explore each spiritual law in depth and progress through the teachings throughout the 7 spiritual laws of Atlantis, you will learn how they relate to your experience in life, your evolution in life, and even to your aura, to your energy field as a whole. Remember that you have the power within to create profound changes for the world by embodying each of these 7 spiritual laws, which are sacred laws. You in turn escalate, elevate, and ripple effect out the effect of these precepts, these agreements, out to the collective to create, the new Earth Atlantis. So we will start with the 7th law. The 7th Atlantean law is known as the law of karma. And the law of karma says we acknowledge that our actions, our words, and our thoughts bring direct learning into our life experience. Okay, so karma is often thought of as, this like bad, ominous thing. Well, karma doesn't have to be that. You can develop or accrue good karma, helpful karma, as well as challenging karma. Karma in general is cause and effect, right? What I do shall be done. What I give out shall be re-experienced by me. So it's a way for spirit, it's a way for our higher selves just to kind of keep us in check and teach us about our energy, teach us about our intentions, what we're extending, what we're experiencing out is always returned to us. And so the learning can also be challenging, can be sometimes uncomfortable and unpleasant. That's the way we learn in this 3D experience, it seems, mostly, is we learn by contrast, right? We learn by cause and effect. We learn by having to experience something negative in order to transcend into something positive. Now, the good thing about the law of karma and our evolution is I really believe that we're coming out of, the karma or the propensity to learn mostly through challenges or through contrast. As we learn, as we grow, as we evolve, we are learning also through the ways we have developed, through the ways that we have grown. We don't have to go into the deepness and the darkness and the hard things like we used to in order to evolve. And that's one of the beautiful aspects of karma, is that we are learning to take responsibility for our thoughts, for our words, for our actions, which leads me into the 6th law, which is the Atlantean law of responsibility. We are learning that we are responsible to manage our own actions and our own energy. And when we learn to what I call self-govern, when we learn to go into our own inner authority, to trust ourselves, and to maybe stop looking at exterior forces or, powers, whether that's religious powers, political powers, to govern us and to tell us what to do and how to do it. When we learn to self-manage and self-govern, and we take responsibility for how our words, our thoughts, our actions directly experience and influence the world around us, including how we create karma through our words, deeds, and actions, then the Atlantean law of responsibility tells us we are spiritually maturing, that we can stop looking to exterior authority figures to help us manage life, that we can put our own shopping cart away. Nobody has to tell us what to do and how to do it. We just have this natural navigation system that allows us to take care of ourselves and the world around us. So that is the Atlantean law of responsibility. Then we move into the 5th law, which is the Atlantean law. I'm sorry, the third law, the Atlantean law of intention. Intention is we agree to honor and integrity as sole directives in all things, in all circumstances. What is your intention? As you take on the law of karma and the law of responsibility, what do you intend to do with your newfound, soul development? Honor and integrity begins to come naturally as a soul directive. We want to honor what we do with our energy. We want to honor ourselves. We want to honor everybody around us with the choices that we are making. We intend and make choices with spirit, with spiritual agreements, following the 7 sacred laws, following our souls, and we allow our soul to light the way. Our soul says, is this an intention with how I want to show up in the world? Is this choice, is this move in life an intention with the direction my soul wishes to go? So as you can see, all of the laws, all of the spiritual laws kind of build on one another as we come up through our energy centers, as we come up through, our lower chakra energy and go into the Atlantean law of grace, which is law number 4. And grace is all about understanding nothing is unforgivable and no one is unlovable. Through acts of forgiveness and self-responsibility, we heal. And I'm going to read that again. Yeah, acts of forgiveness and self-responsibility, we heal. So thinking about nothing being unforgivable and no one being unlovable, think about the amount of compassion that brings through to you, through your heart space. And that compassion, once you understand yourself as all lovable, as all forgivable, that there is nothing you have done karmically, that there is nothing that you have done with or without intention, or even in our moments of a lack of self-responsibility, that is unforgivable. And we extend that compassion and we extend that grace. It's grace. It's the grace to understand the bigger picture. It's the grace to understand that you're always doing the best that you can. And when you know better, you do better. And I believe when we offer ourselves grace and compassion, that can just be naturally extended out to the world around us. That kindness, that grace, that attribute of like rising above our earthly issues and our earthly ego starts to transcend into something 5th dimensional. Which brings us to the law of unconditional love. Okay, so this is moving backwards 7 to 1. This is law number 2. The law of unconditional love says we free ourselves from judgments and allow all to experience life in its unfolding. So this is taking the law of grace and taking it to the next echelon. That we recognize without any judgment that everybody here is here to uncover, to discover, to have a physical experience, to be explorers. Well, we are all explorers on this planet, learning who we are, remembering who we are as spiritual beings. In Atlantis, the beings were 5th dimensional, coming into a 3rd dimensional body, attempting to retain their 5th dimensional consciousness. In this experiment, we come in as 3rd dimensional beings, oftentimes forgetting our 5th dimensional consciousness with the goal or the new experience of returning to that 5th dimension. We're actually doing the experiment in the reverse. So doing the experiment in the reverse, which has never been done before on this earth, is part of how we are restoring the true Atlantean and Lemurian timelines, reversing the spiral, right? So as internally you understand how to take the law of karma and transcend that, the law of responsibility, the law of intention, move into the law of grace, understand and express the law of manifestation in its fullest, we start to come into this all knowing, all feeling, unconditional love where we get that everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be on their journey. We stop judging ourselves, we stop judging others, and we embrace the idea of unity and oneness of manifestation. The law of manifestation says that we agree to create with our free will, merged with our divine will, for the greater good of all. So this is when we take our creations which come up through the heart center, up through the heart chakra, and we express them out into the world with spirit as our partner. So we begin to manifest from a place of not being the drop in the ocean, but being the entire ocean, actually becoming the wave. And I love the imagery going on here, because when our free will merges with divine will, we start to manifest not only for our own good, but for the greater good of the entire collective. Everything rises up together and starts to unify, which is the first and most significant law of Atlantis, which is the law of one. The law of one states that all beings are equal and one under the Creator, that all are one. This is when we fully express up through our crown chakra and above, and we reach that place where we are in unison and unity with our oversoul. Our oversoul is eternally connected to the Creator, where we are embodying that unification, and we no longer are accruing any kind of karma. There's an isness about that. There's an all-knowing. We come from the idea of being a spark of the Creator to the embodiment of I am the Creator. I am one with the Creator, and we recognize that everybody on their path, no matter where they are, is a spark of the Creator, just learning to return. And, in this dimension, in this reality, in this new Atlantean experiment, that's why we're here, folks. We are here to exalt our own timelines, to exalt the planet, to see what's possible as creators. And if you decide that you want to embody the law of one, not only the law of one, but all the 7 spiritual laws at a deeper level, here's your opportunity to first gain an awareness, a consciousness of what each of the 7 laws are, and to look to how you can put them to, amazing good use in your everyday life to help with your own exaltation, for your own ascension. You can find out more about me at AmeeraAtlantis.com. If you would like to book some time with me in the mermaid room, in the healing room, we can go deeper into, your Atlantean Lemurian lifetimes, or whatever you are working on in particular, as far as a simultaneous life, soul contracts, soul paths, and again, just go deeper into how you can help yourself, which in turn helps the entire planet. Sending you oceans of aloha and all the best love and joy to the new Atlantis and the new Lemuria rising. Aloha.